2 of our two-part year in review edition of the Marne Report.
We're taking a look back at 2014 and reviewing our top stories.
In July, during a tour in Afghanistan, Private First Class Paul Aieti recorded a video of his performance of Stay by Rihanna. His performance went viral and grabbed the attention of producers at America's Got Talent.
Photojournalist Zach Renstrom sat down with PFC Aieti and discussed his journey from YouTube star to national celebrity.
How many times do I have to tell you? Even when you cry and you're beautiful too, the world is beating you down. I'm around through every mood. You're my downfall and you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. I can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you.
The Marne Report is excited to have Private First Class Paul Aieti, who recently competed in America's Got Talent. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what it's like when you had your first experience on TV?
Well, when I got to LA, just thinking about being in front of thousands of people that are going to watch me sing, I was just nervous, and you can see in some of the videos where I was biting my nails. That's what I do when I'm nervous. It was really nerve-wracking.
What was your reaction after being on TV? Like, how did it feel?
I just didn't know what to say. I was speechless, and it all felt unreal just being on that stage, and then for the judges to come up and hug me. It was just amazing.
Now, when you see it on TV, you just see last week's performance and this week's. What actually did you do in between performances to prepare?
In between, every performance, I didn't want to practice the song too much, because if I think about it too much, then I might mess up and but most of the time was just, being normal, hanging out, relaxing, talking to my parents.
How's your life changed since you've been on the show?
Everywhere I go now, it's just, hey, you're the guy from TV, or even at our motor pool, we have people come down there and ask for autographs for their wives and their kids. And, who would have ever thought something like this would happen to me, where I'd be at the airport eating at a restaurant. But, they're all blessings, and without these people, I wouldn't, have this experience that I'm going through in my life right now. Because, I don't like to call them fans, they're just my supporters and Team Paul Aieti, and I thank each and every one of them for supporting me. And even though, we didn't make it to the end of the show, it was, not everyone gets to say that they made it to the semifinals of one of the biggest shows in America, so I'm just thankful that I even got to be on the show and to share my God-given talent with the world.
And what is the future for you and your musical career?
There's been a lot of different offers from small production companies and some major ones, and there's probably even some that I haven't even read yet, because my emails, my messages, my social media is just, emails get lost in there. I haven't even read half of them. But I get phone calls from different companies and production labels. But aside from that, I'm never going to stop, chasing my dreams and sharing my talent with the world. And, it's what I love to do, and it's something I'll never give up on.
The soldiers of U.S. Army MEDAC won the Stuart Hunter Softball Championship over Coast Guard Air Station Savannah. We introduce you to both teams as photojournalist Zach Renstrom shows us how this championship provided these soldiers with a lot more than just a win and a trophy.
I've played baseball my whole life since I was a little kid, and so growing up, it was something I've always been interested in, the teamwork, the camaraderie, the cohesion and everything, and then the sport itself. Being able to come out here and link in with guys, especially in a joint environment here with the Coast Guard, Army, and all the different entities. It's just the awesome side of the Army that most people don't get to see, bringing everyone together for a common goal and a common bond.
We're a mixed unit, so it's kind of a joint team. We have Army, Air Force, and Coast Guard all on one team. So it's a great way to intermingle with their services and get to know each other. We get to learn a little bit about their service. They can learn a little bit of ours. We're all on a first name basis out here. I mean, it's cool. We've hung out outside of the softball field actually, and a lot of people didn't know what the Coast Guard does. Like, I don't know what some of the Air Force Special Forces guys do that are with us. So it's actually been real cool to find out. As a Coast Guard, we stand 24-hour duties, and when our Coast Guard players are standing duty, they can't play. So we have to have fill-ins for them. And for one instance, both head coach and assistant coach, we were both on duty 2 games this year, and we barely had enough to play. So that was our only 2 losses in that regular season, actually, when we were just barely a team.
We kind of had to come together. Took a few weeks to mesh, figure out who played where, but from that we were able to figure out strengths and weaknesses, put the lineup together, and just get different perspectives on the game and on life. And so everyone really came together, great personalities to put the team together that we did in the end and compete at the high level like we did.
I think it definitely brings us together. I mean, even though it's competition, we want to beat the pants off the other team. We come together and we can enjoy this time out, with bring our families out and things like that, to where, you know, competition can bring you together and make you closer.
We started off trying to win, ended up doing so. We got some big hitters, we got people who can run the bases, we got great fielders, so that's the reason why we've been really doing good, is because we can play defense along with our hitting. I get to know a lot of people that I work with now. No matter what your rank is, as long as you come out and do good, and you know, they'll pat you on the back. It's like talking first name basis here. So it feels pretty good to be able to call my master sergeant by his first name on the field and get to know everybody. So I feel it was really well.
New leadership comes to the 385th Military Police Battalion. Lieutenant Colonel Jerry E. J. Chandler, Jr., outgoing commander, relinquished command to incoming commander Lieutenant Colonel William A. Rogers during a change of command ceremony on Cottrell Field.
Photojournalist Zach Renstrom sat down with both commanders and brings us the story.
The phenomenal warriors standing before you today represent the best and the brightest our nation can offer. Forged in tough combat and humanitarian operations since World War II and its inception as a railroad security battalion, the 385th Military Police Battalions, the Dragoons, represents the best of the best, and Jay Chandler has led the way for the last 2 years. Jay and the 385th have led the way on Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield, and multiple deployments and other accomplishments. Just to name a few, the battalion headquarters certifying on the DSURF mission, ready to assist the nation and homeland against a terrorist attack or any other threat or emergency.
I know for a fact I'm the luckiest commander in the Army. I have an outstanding family. I was also tremendously lucky to be able to work for the 3rd Infantry Division Rocket the Marne. After this battalion's last activation, it was built off the 3rd MP Battalion Provisional, Marne Police. And while we're now the 385th Dragoons, we are still the 3rd Infantry Division's MB Battalion. Man, this battalion is one of the best organizations I've ever been a part of. It was my honor and my privilege to command these great military police men and women.
As we bid farewell to the Chandlers, we welcome Lieutenant Colonel Andy Rogers, his wife Catherine, and their children back to the 16th MP Brigade. Andy knows the brigade well, having served as the Brigade XO and the Brigade S3. He has the prerequisite experience to lead this great battalion, experience in Honduras, Panama, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
I'm humbled and honored to take command of such an outstanding organization. I, along with my family, Catherine, Caroline, Meredith, and Nolan, are excited and fired up to be part of the Fort Stewart, 3rd Infantry Division, 16th Military Police Brigade, and Dragoon family.
To the soldiers of the mighty 385th, you've been incredibly blessed to have one great commander replaced by another great leader who will continue to command this unit with distinction. The Army could not have picked a more finer, more capable leader to continue to train, certify, and lead this battalion. Andy, lead them well, train them to our warrior tasks and drills, and care for each and every one of them and their family members. You are now entrusted with the great responsibility, and this is to care for and train America's finest. There is no greater responsibility than to command. I know you are up to the task, and I am proud of your selfless service and commitment to soldiers.
The 2nd Brigade Spartans enjoyed competition and camaraderie through sports and obstacles during Spartan Week.
Are you ready for Spartan Week? I hope so, because y'all deserve it.
The 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team recently held Spartan Week, a series of competitions among its 6 battalions. Events ranged from traditional sports to various obstacle-type challenges.
I have been asked to be the spokesman for 2nd Brigade Spartan Forge Challenge.
In saying a word of introduction to what you're about to see.
The Spartan Forge.
In preparation for Spartan Week, the brigade circulated a form of viral marketing on its Facebook page. The video advertising raised awareness for Spartan Week as well as highlighting the Spartan Forge and Spartan 1000 events.
Are you ready for Spartan Week? We're going to have a great time. Come out and join me.
2nd Brigade Commanding Officer Colonel Scott Jackson kicked off Spartan Week with a brigade run in which soldiers and family members participated. The soldiers then participated in various sports competitions held throughout the week. One of the more rigorous events, the Spartan Forge, offered traditional obstacles mixed with conventional soldier training. Rumor has it there were 2 alligators swimming in Pond 10, but it seems they shied away from the Spartans paddling around their habitat. The Spartan Fit competition mixed various events from popular physical training exercises. The week of heart and physical conditioning need not apply.
Go!
The Spartan 1000 involved pull-ups, tire flips, and other endurance trials. The multiple challenges culminated with pushing an up-armored Humvee 100 yards to the finish line. Reporting for the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, I'm Sergeant Stephen Dornbos.
Heroic soldiers risked their lives to save a blind elderly woman and her family from a house fire. Army Sergeant Dean Gannon tells us how they battled the blaze.
Most people think soldiers only risk their lives in combat. Army Sergeants Michael Richardson and Brandon Ziegler give their all at home too, even if that means running into a burning home to save their neighbors.
I run outside and see smoke coming out of the neighbor's house. Then I run around the trucks, get to the front door, and I see my neighbor trying to drag her elderly mom out of the house who's blind and handicapped, can't walk. I tell the wife to go get the phone and call 911. Tell my son to go down the street to my buddy Nick's house and next door to my buddy Brandon's house so they can come help.
My next door neighbor Chelsea came running over. She busted through the door saying call 911. Mary's house is on fire. And when I got there, Michael was pulling a lady out.
And I get the mother as far as I can out of the house because of the flower beds. I didn't want to drag her over the bricks and stuff. So I was waiting for Brandon to come help me with her. Got her as far as I could out. The neighbor stated she had a fire extinguisher on the wall in the kitchen. So ran into the kitchen. There were flames engulfing the stove and the cabinets in the ceiling when I got in there. So we bypassed the flames and got the extinguisher off the wall. I squirted it once, had to go outside for air. And by that time Brandon had showed up with his.
I ran in the house and couldn't see anything other than some flames. So I started spraying down what I could see.
We both had to exit again for air. And once we got back in, we finally got it out on the 3rd time. Got the grandmother's wheelchair and got her away, as far away as we could.
Firefighters were dispatched to the home, but the sergeants had already extinguished the fire. Reporting for 1st Brigade Raiders, I'm Army Sergeant Dean Gannon.
In October, Mayor James Thomas Jr., Hinesville's mayor, awarded certificates of achievement and coins from the city to 3 Fort Stewart soldiers. Sergeant Michael Richardson and Sergeant Brandon Ziegler saved an elderly woman from a house fire in July. Sergeant Jose Lopez assisted in the apprehension of a driver who drove into the Hinesville Kroger.
That incident happened just one day after the house fire. The short ceremony saw the 3 soldiers recognized by the mayor, city council, and their chain of command. Great job, dog-faced soldiers.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do us. No, what's wrong with you? It's not getting
You are dealing with pain, anger, a heaviness. It feels like there is no way out. It seems like you are in this by yourself, battling alone. But you are part of one Army family, shoulder to shoulder with a community there to get you through these hard times. There is no shame, no guilt in seeking out help. So if you are struggling, feeling depressed, or even having thoughts of suicide, it is time to talk to someone. Your Army family is committed to finding you the strength and hope you need to rebound from adversity. Because, above all else, our most essential resource is you.
In August, Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield welcomed Command Sergeant Major Myron J. Lewis during an Assumption of Responsibility ceremony. The event was hosted by Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield Garrison Commander Colonel Kevin Gregory. Photojournalist Zach Renstrom introduced us to the new Command Sergeant Major.
It's important that we recognize our senior non-commissioned officers in our organizations, and that's one of the reasons we're here today. So thank you again for joining us here at Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield's Garrison Command teams, and welcoming our new Command Sergeant Major, Myron Lewis, and his wife, Janine, as they begin this new chapter in their life here at Fort Stewart and Hunter and in coastal Georgia.
My desire is to keep Team Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield on the lips of all that desire to know what exemplary teamsmanship, dedication, and our primary mission of taking care of soldiers is all about. I plan to keep the legacy of community excellence for the Fort Stewart community, and I really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the warm welcomes that you have given my wife and I. The meaning of sustainment, support, and stability mean a lot to me because by trade I'm a military policeman, so we are always here to protect and to serve. I feel that the things that I'm looking forward to the most is just the camaraderie, just being able to socialize with other people, make better friends, and then increase communications between the installation.
Hunter and Fort Stewart and our surrounding communities' roots are entangled. We're joined at the hip with our neighbors, families, and the history that surrounds each of us. We're now part of that history, and we can now move forward together to shape what our future history says about our time here in coastal Georgia. Sergeant Major Lewis now joins this history, the legacy of those who came before us, and hopefully together, Command Sergeant Major Lewis and I, along with the Fort Stewart, Hunter, and surrounding communities, will leave us a great place to train, live, and raise a family for generations to come.
The community of Sylvania, Georgia, Screven County High School, and soldiers of 3rd Combat Aviation Brigade joined local Vietnam War veterans in a ceremony rededicating Kelly Memorial Stadium. Before the ceremony, a memorial statue was unveiled in honor of the Vietnam War hero. Kelly was honored not only for his bravery during wartime, but also for the standards he set for generations of medevac missions to come.
Dust off. This is Foxtrot 5. Abort mission. LZ is high. We are under fire. Get out. I say again. Abort mission. LZ is under heavy fire.
Foxtrot, this is Dust off. Negative. When I have your wounded.
I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of my dad, and I did not know him as an adult. But I've read everything he's ever written, and I've met everybody that I could find that ever knew him, and I'm just very proud. I'm in awe of what he did. There are dust-off pilots that fly with his last words as their motto here today in Sylvania.
When I have your wounded means that I will never quit. I will come for you, no matter the risk, no matter the ferocity of the combat going on the ground, that I will come, I will land, and I will get your wounded. Since I was a young lieutenant learning how to fly, I've known about Charles Kelly. I've known about the legend of Charles Kelly. These events that led to his death happened over 50 years ago, but throughout the years, especially throughout the modern combat era we've been in the Middle East, I've really started to experience and feel what he felt. I've been in the seat, and I've led the men and the soldiers, and just to lead those soldiers every day on a daily basis really has brought it home to me. I could see and feel what he felt, and I've never had more respect for him than after this last deployment, after being the actual commander in the same job he was in the same type of environment that he was in. He wrote the book on medevac. He literally wrote the book for everything we do. I'm just following on the shoulders of giants. I had thousands and thousands of officers and NCOs and young men and women do this mission before I did it. To actually lead the mission, it showed me just how much of an innovator Charles Kelly was. I was in Afghanistan this past year, and every day I thought of Charles Kelly, and coming back here to this hometown, coming back and seeing his family, seeing the life that he could have led, just increases the amount of sacrifice I know he made. I can completely identify with him, and it is surreal And it also brings it home for me personally, what he had to do to save patients. And that one day, he didn't come home. And for me personally, I knew that sacrifice was there. I knew that it could be made, that I may have to make that my crew members, that my soldiers may have to make that any given day. But to come here and see his family and to see his community, it really, really brings that home to me. He's a hero. Not only a helicopter pilot who flew into the teeth of battle almost on a daily basis to save lives and eventually died doing that. But he's also a hero because he started the profession. He established the standards of the profession that we still have today. The techniques and the procedures that we have in medevac, our call sign, our reputation, and our motto, "When I have your wounded." That motto means we will never leave and we will never quit and we will never stop coming for you until I have your wounded off of the battlefield, until we've saved them. That still lives today, over 50 years later.
I will leave when I have your wounded.
In September, soldiers from the 385th MP Battalion participated in a joint riot training exercise at the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. The soldiers volunteered as role players for training purposes. Photojournalist Zach Renstrom brings us into the middle of this intense exercise.
Today is a full-fledged scenario exercise for the Mobile Field Force for training. The guys from Georgia State Patrol, Savannah Chatham Metro, the 165th Air National Guard Security Forces, and Chatham County Sheriff's Office are working together as a full Mobile Field Force unit, and they're working on scenario-based training.
He's mad, bro.
This is a simulated G8 type summit event. A delegation from a country that is hotly debated, human rights activists up in arms about it. That country's delegation is allegedly coming here in the scenario, and these people are human rights activists, and they've shown up to protest that country's participation in the summit. 45 to 60 protesters in the scenario. The field forces will have to be dispatched and assembled to counter that.
It was important for us to come out today. Savannah Chatham Metro Police Department invited us out to participate with them, do a joint training exercise for riot response. So it was important that we come out and take advantage of that opportunity. It gives us the exposure to something that we maybe don't see every day. We were able to work with the mounted patrol this morning, which was really exciting, something we don't typically do very often.
Their military police units perform some of the same functions we do, so they're getting in on this to help us. And in the case that they would ever have to augment what we're doing or to take it back to their own departments so they can add to the training they're doing.
We've gained a few things, definitely some insight into some different tactics and techniques that we typically don't use. And also, it was some confidence building for sure.
Anytime we can all get together and train, it's monumentally important. We never know when an incident may occur on a large scale where we may need everybody we can find to work together. We've forged a lot of new relationships with our military partners here. We've extended training out to them, they've extended training out to us, and we're trying to keep that bond and build it every time we get a chance, because it's something that we both learn from each other.
We are able to offer one another mutual support and some interesting training opportunities, such as the one today with the riot exercise that we don't get to do very often.
The 4th Brigade Gym was dedicated to honor a fallen hero from the Korean War.
1, 2, 3.
Soldiers from across the 3rd Infantry Division gathered to attend the PFC Charles R. Johnson Fitness Center dedication ceremony, August 26th. Johnson was assigned to Baker Company, 15th Regiment, 3rd ID, when they were sent to Outpost Harry, Korea, with orders to hold at all costs. Johnson was fighting alongside his high school friend, Private Don Dingy, against an estimated 3,600 enemy soldiers, when their bunker was hit by artillery fire and an enemy grenade exploded inside.
Charlie was a great soldier and a great civilian. He did not know the word hesitation. It wasn't in his vocabulary.
Johnson bandaged other soldiers and dragged Dingy 150 meters to relative safety in another bunker with wounded soldiers. He is responsible for saving the lives of at least 8 soldiers.
And we're very, very proud
that we can recognize and dedicate this facility today for a very clear example of a soldier that also lived the Army values and the warrior ethos long before they became popular.
Johnson was a talented athlete in high school, earning a football scholarship to Howard University before being drafted. In that spirit, the PFC Charles R. Johnson Physical Fitness Center offers warrior athletes facilities for basketball, swimming, weightlifting, cardio, CrossFit, and combatives.
All I can say is thank you for making him a star today.
And we dog-faced soldiers are not only honoring Charlie with this dedication, but all the forgotten Charlie Johnsons of this division.
For 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 3rd Infantry Division Public Affairs, I'm Sergeant Bob Yarbrough.
That's all for this week's Marne Report.
You can watch the Marne Report in the morning at 5, 5:30, and 8 and 8:30, noon and in the evening at 5 and 5:30, 9 and 11. Or as always, check us out on the web at stewart.army.mil and on Vimeo at vimeo.com/3rdid. Have a great week. Rock the Marne.
Foggy weather conditions didn't stop soldiers and family members from enjoying the Top of the Rock Run. The run, sponsored by MWR, promoted resiliency and a healthy lifestyle for soldiers and families on Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield.
Photojournalist Zach Renstrom sat down with some of the participants and brings us the story.
I think anytime you can come run with fellow service members or individuals that support the military and the community is always a good time. I'm new to base, I'm new to the Raider Brigade, so it's kind of a fun, first look and kind of get to enjoy the running scene here locally.
This is a particularly good event for me being a medical guy because we are promoting the triad of health, which includes activity, and this is a great way to get some activity, enjoy some fun and some friendship with other folks, and maybe meet a few new folks along the way too.
Running is something that I probably do way too much, way too often with my wife, and so we travel around as much as we can. Half marathons, 5Ks, 10Ks. I've had the opportunity to run on a couple of All-Army 10-mile teams. I think it's really important as a captain for the soldiers and my peers and my superiors to see that it's very, very important to me to live the Army values and to stay fit and to maintain a healthy mindset and healthy body, and running really balances that both for me. It gives me some relaxed time outside of the office, kind of away from things and just think myself, but it also helps develop that physical fitness I need during long deployments or rotation in DC or Ranger School, whatever it was. It really helped me out a good bit.
It builds the morale for the whole installation, and it kind of brings everyone together. I think it's a cool name for a run, Top of the Rock. We've been here 4 years now, and this is the first time I've actually done it. So I was just excited to come out and support the 3rd Infantry and MWR.
You see all levels of running, and you see different types of goals, but we can come together, encourage each other. There's a lot of encouragement out here today, just within our family, but then also within the community and within the command groups, and then Fort Stewart as a whole. And I think it's great that we're able to all come together and encourage each other in reaching our fitness goals.
Personally, having better health through activity and things, it builds your own personal resiliency. If you're healthy, you're able to deal with stress and other things better. If somebody goes down out here, I have no doubt there would be plenty of support and help there for them. And it's just that sense that we're not alone out here. We're in this together, and we've got friends and fellow soldiers and other family members, retirees who are there to support one another.
On October 30th, the Marne Band performed with the Long County High School Drumline. Photojournalist Zach Renstrom got a behind-the-scenes look at the preparation both bands were undergoing for the upcoming concert. Let's check it out.
It started because, I'm an alumni of the 3rd ID band, so I still have a lot of friends there, and I've gone to some of the concert series they had, and we thought for Halloween, how cool would it be to do a joint venture with my high school band? So that's how it kind of got started, just in conversation, and then we were able to put all the pieces together to make it really happen. As a former soldier musician, I tell the students the stories and of the things that we've done and how we serve as musicians, and actually seeing it is better than just hearing me tell them about how the Army band is. They actually get to see these soldiers, and the 3ID band, in my opinion, is quite possibly one of the best bands in the Army's inventory.
I had the privilege of seeing them compete at a drumline battle that they hosted here around Christmas last year. And they're phenomenally talented and entertaining. And it just so happens that Mr. Jason McElveen is a retired 3ID band member, and he's their director. So I got in contact with my old band friend, Sergeant Jason McElveen, and started talking about the possibility of doing this joint concert together.
It's great for my kids, so they know that some of them may not want to do college, but they can find out that music doesn't stop with high school. They can join the Army and possibly be in the Army band. So it's an avenue for them to continue to play music.
You'll receive your applause, and then we didn't come with the track prepared. I just wanted to get that far through the sequence rehearsal. There was going to be some canned music that's going to come through on the loudspeaker, you know, and then we will move into a position where the...
This is invaluable to us to be able to link with the community that's around and to work with such talented young people and to show them that there is a career opportunity to do what they're doing in high school, their love, their passion, and turn that into a career in the Army. So we get to play music. That's what we get paid to do.
This right here, it means everything to me. I'm a former football player from the school, but once I got to high school, I transitioned away from football because growing up, that's all I knew, and that's all I wanted to, well, that's all I knew how to do and was raised around. So once I got to high school and I thought about reinventing who I am, a friend of mine who was a part of the drum line, he's graduated now, he actually came and got me from my house one day, and he said we needed another bass drummer. It makes me feel like I've achieved something. I've done something I never thought I can do with myself. Before I came here, I really didn't care about anything. If anything happened, I really didn't care if it was bad or good. I just went with the flow of stuff. But now, it's really changed my outlook on life, because before I came here, I didn't know what I was going to do after high school or whatever. I just assumed that it was going to be over, and then I'm just going to do whatever I want afterwards, like probably live the typical life of partying and stuff like that, like regular teens. But being here has actually inspired me to go to college and join the military.
Thank you for watching the second half of our special edition of the Marne Report.
You can view our Marne Reports online at vimeo.com/3id or on YouTube at the 3rd Infantry Division channel. Happy New Year.
Rock of the Marne.